Hello, welcome back to SoulSchool. I'm Theolyn, and here is another Signs and Wonders video with a haiku. This is number 5 in the series, and each haiku has been composed for a chapter in my new book, Wake Up, Rise and Shine. And that book will be available to you a few weeks down the line through the website free of charge. But in the meantime, I wanted to share these magical little poems, 17 syllables to a haiku, and each haiku has got a lot packed into it. So this will be chapter 4, and but it's the 5th haiku, and that's because the first one was for the introduction. So chapter 4 will be all about your guardian angel. Your soul chose a guide. This bright angel on your path sings words of wisdom. So we've all got this angel. You can call it a daimon or a higher self or guiding spirit, whatever you want to call it, it's there. It's inbuilt like your sat-nav. It's not up here in the ether, just watching over you or sitting on your shoulder like Jiminy Cricket. No, it's here. It's built in. And it doesn't go away, and it doesn't go to sleep. It's just there. You might be asleep, but not the bright angel. And if you don't like the word angel, find your word for it. Whatever it is, it's there for you, and it will sing you songs of wisdom. It will nourish you with inspiration. It is intelligent, and it has foresight. It knows how things are going to turn out. Let me share a story about my dear husband, Will. Many years ago, I think it must be nearly 40 years ago actually, he was in a car accident. And at that time in our lives, we didn't talk or think particularly a great deal about angels. I hadn't started writing my books, although I was starting to have experiences during my meditation. But it wasn't that we were always talking about things like guardian angels or anything. Anyway, when he was in a car, just kind of rolling down the road, he'd been in the driving seat, and he heard a voice. First of all, what happened was that he sort of jumped, or his consciousness jumped out of his own body. It's an out of the body experience, and he could see the car rolling down the road. And then he heard this voice saying, "Don't worry, nobody's going to get hurt," which was very reassuring. It was dark, and he could, from up there, see that another car was coming towards the car that he was driving, but in a sense, he wasn't driving it anymore because he was up there. And the car had gone into the other lane as well. So the car coming from the other direction was bound to come like that. Don't worry, nobody's going to get hurt. So the next thing he knows, he finds himself back in his body and he's curled up on the back seat. I have to say, the seatbelt laws had not come in at that stage of history, which was just as well, because actually if he'd been seatbelted, he would have been trapped in the front, and that would have been the end of him. But somehow, magically and mysteriously, his body moved from the driving seat into the back seat without him knowing that that was happening. The body moved when his consciousness, was up there and above. So there's several things to unpick from this. First of all, something in him knew that nobody was going to get hurt, including himself. And the cars did smash, and the other car was quite a small 4-seater, had several elderly people in it. And actually they weren't hurt. I think they had 1 or 2 scratches, very minor things. the car that Will was driving was all smashed up, and he crawled out of the back window. It was upside down. And there were people hovering around the front saying, "What's happened to the driver?" And he came around from the back and he said, "I'm the driver." And they all looked pretty astounded. How did that happen? So, the magic of the bright angel, that's what I call that. Number one, the bright angel, the daimon, the guardian angel, whatever you want to call it, is something that's telling Will that he doesn't have to worry, everything's going to be all right. And there's a kind of knowledge there, a certainty, that comes from somewhere inside him. I asked him afterwards, "Well, this voice, what did it sound like? Was it a male or a female voice or whatever?" And he said, "Well, I suppose it sounded like my own voice." So that was the first remarkable thing about the occasion. But of course, the big remarkable thing was the fact that somehow he had removed himself from the danger that he would have been in the driving seat, and managed to get into the back seat. Now, let me tell you, Will is 6'4". And this car had headrests above the seats in the front. So the gap between the headrest and the roof of the car was very small indeed. So for a 6'4" man to manoeuvre himself while a car's rolling down the road into the back seat is quite a remarkable feat. In fact, it would be remarkable if the car was stationary. So think about that. These kind of things happen to people, and they do feel that they've been protected by something angelic. And the angelic force that assists in these difficult situations, I don't think it's an outside force. I think it's something within you. And it's that thing within you that can make miracles happen. And most of the time, we are not in touch with it. We don't hear the words of wisdom. We don't listen. One of the earlier haikus said, "Listen, surrender, listen, receive." So be aware that you are on a journey, step by sacred step, and even if you roll your car down the road, the sacred journey that you have to make will, one way or another, will be protected. That's not to say people don't die at a point in their lives when the people around them stand there and think, "What happened? Why did they die so early?" We can't actually work out all the timing. But what I suggest, when I talk about time and how long you've got in the world, what I suggest is that you can spin the time from your soul's energy. And that as long as you are on that path and every step is sacred and there is something else for you to do, then the time will follow you like a golden thread. You will spin it as long as you need it in this particular incarnation. So in order to listen to the words of wisdom, you need to meditate. Yes, the same old story from Theolyn. Keep meditating. Learn SHEFA meditation. That opens the gateway to the wise words of your bright angel. The SHEFA method is still free at this time in June. I don't know when you're going to see this actually, but I'm putting it out in the middle of June, and there's a free offer on the SHEFA method at the present time, and I hope to see your name on the list of students. I'll be back with another haiku before very long. Bye bye.